I'd love to get right into the topic today. I'd love to introduce the guest and kind of let them take things from here. I already mentioned it, but the topic for today, the 7 secrets to building successful product roadmaps. Something as a product person, whether you're a product manager, whether you're a product leader, roadmaps are always top of mind. And so today we have a couple of people that are going to help us talk things through. That's Malte Schultz, who's the co-founder and CEO of airfocus. And a big thanks to airfocus for helping us put this all together. We've been collaborating with airfocus on a number of things, including these webinars. So it's great to have you, Malte. And I know with you, we also have Quadri Oshibotu. Now, Quadri is the founder of Product Hall. And yeah, I know both Malte and Quadri are going to help us walk things through. And it's great to have both of you here with us.
Thanks for the invite. Super cool to be here.
Thank you very much for the invite. It's always a beneficial opportunity, just speaking to product people and helping them refine their craft, just so we can ensure that we're working effectively with our stakeholders and likewise build better products that can benefit our customers, users, business stakeholders, and yeah, just the world overall.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, from here on, I'm going to let you two take it away. I know we have 7 secrets to share. You definitely have my interest here. So I'm going to sit back and enjoy the show, and I'm going to help with Q&A once we get towards the end too.
Thank you. So as mentioned, it is the beginning of the year, and many product leaders, product people, we are thinking about, what exactly is our roadmap going to look like for this year? Some of you may have already crafted your roadmap, given that it's now March 1st. Some of you may be in the process of refining it. But then again, with regards to roadmaps, they are not static documents that are set in stone. Once you create it, never to be revisited again. And along with that, throughout the year, you're constantly going to be receiving feedback from various stakeholders. So we're going to share 7 secrets that you should keep in mind. Keep them in mind as you're currently crafting and refining your roadmap, but likewise, keep them in mind for the future as well. Now, when you look at the word roadmap, you'll notice that it's made up of 2 words, right? Road and map. A map basically helps you understand where you currently are and the route to take to reach that destination. And the purpose of a road is to take you to the particular destination that you're trying to reach. This is the exact same with product roadmaps. They are a representation of where a company's products currently are, okay? Outlining where the product or where they want the product to go, and likewise the planned initiatives to reach set goals for the business. A product roadmap is a tool that allows you to outline your strategic objectives of your business and basically how you plan on evolving your product to reach the set goals that your business has basically set. Now, among the multiple benefits of product roadmaps, as you all know, is that they help you align your team on the mission, the common goals, likewise the key deliverables for a quarter or year. They assist you in positioning your product, obtaining stakeholder buy-in, and along with that, setting the vision for the future, planning resources, and a lot more. Roadmaps are extremely beneficial, and they are one of the key artifacts that product managers craft and modify throughout the year. So let's go into the 7 secrets one by one. Secret number 1, it's extremely important to understand the different types of roadmaps that exist. One of the reasons that people dislike, roadmaps, stakeholders as well at times, is that sometimes roadmaps can set the wrong expectations. If you have a timeline-based roadmap, for example, or a feature-based roadmap, and something is mentioned for Q1, then it may be expected that it's going to be delivered in Q1, period. And along with this, sometimes roadmaps can get interpreted as project plans. And we know as product people that they're not, especially when you utilize timeline-based roadmaps. Now, while timeline-based roadmaps and feature-based roadmaps are extremely popular and frequently used, they're not the only type that exists. There are multiple other types of roadmaps. Some roadmaps will be crafted by the product team. However, you also have roadmaps that are crafted by other team members as well. For example, among the types of roadmaps that you have are internal versus external based roadmaps. Internal roadmaps are roadmaps for your internal team, okay? Those inside of your company. They're used for both market-facing products as well as internal roadmaps for IT product management as well. And this roadmap basically contains more sensitive data, hence why it's internal, okay? For example, on a feature-based roadmap, you might have a list of customers that requested that specific feature, along with sensitive information such as the ARR, level of estimated effort, likewise, any links to completed discoveries that your team has done, and more. Internal roadmaps may also contain details related to delivery as well. Now, some of the types of internal roadmaps that there are include, the cybersecurity roadmap, API roadmaps, UX/UI or product design roadmaps, and likewise content roadmaps. The plan that your marketing team plans on following with regards to producing content that will bring in more leads for your business. External product roadmaps are roadmaps that are shared with those outside of your company. And these are generally the most common or the ones that are focused a lot more on, okay? In many cases, they're mainly designed for customers and outline expected product improvements. And this is because customers are often curious to know what's coming next on the roadmap and are you specifically working on what they requested. Now, one of the key benefits of having an external roadmap is that it saves your team conversation time. Now, what I mean by this is rather than having multiple meetings with various customers to walk them through your roadmap, you can easily create a public roadmap and share it with them via a link, for example. And this gives them easy access to the roadmap so that they can see updates as they are made in real time, okay? Another benefit of external roadmaps is that they're great assets for your sales team, especially when speaking to prospective customers. Now, along with speaking to and demoing the current value of your product, they can speak to confirm planned product enhancements on the roadmap. However, do keep in mind, whenever you are speaking to prospective customers, ensure that they are signing up for your product for the capabilities that it has today, rather than something that they're expecting in the future, because roadmaps can change. Now, among the many types of external roadmaps and roadmaps that exist in general include, an outcome-based roadmap, which basically clarifies the expected results of roadmap initiatives, focusing mainly on KPIs, okay? This roadmap is extremely helpful because it clearly communicates to stakeholders how delivered items tie directly to the product and company vision and the goals to be reached, okay? You also have business roadmaps, and this is not necessarily for the product team, but these outline the long-term strategic plans of a business in general. So unlike a lengthy business plan that details the activities required to accomplish business goals, it focuses more on big picture objectives and high-level strategies to achieve these. Another type is the experiment-based roadmap. And this roadmap basically outlines to internal stakeholders the many experiments that the product team is going to carry out throughout a specific time period. And it also forces a product manager to think about the detailed steps to take to ensure that they are working on the right initiatives. And then, of course, there's the product launch roadmap, which outlines the steps and milestones to release a new enhancement, feature, or product. And this looks similar to a Gantt chart per se, organized by specific dates, months, and displaying key milestones until launch. It also includes the tasks that other cross-functional team members have to complete until launch. So you're thinking past the work of just the development team, but also what key activities does the marketing team or the sales team, for example, or the customer success team also need to take care of before general availability. And then, of course,
you have Kadri, sorry to interrupt you real quick. We're getting some feedback from the audience that they'd actually love to see the slide that I know that you'll be able to share later, but why don't we share it now? This way, if folks want to have that visual, they could have it right there and you could talk us through it.
Sure. Can you all see my screen?
Yep.
Cool. You see all the 7 slides?
I can see, yeah, 7 secrets to building successful product roadmaps.
Excellent. And you see all of them listed, just to confirm. Yes?
Yes, we do.
Excellent. Thank you for the feedback.
Yeah, for sure.
As mentioned, you also have other types of roadmaps, including timeline roadmaps, agile roadmaps, short and long-term roadmaps, OKR roadmaps as well. How do you determine which roadmap is the one that's right for your team? 2 things that you need to keep in mind, okay? So number 1, who exactly is your audience and who are the roadmap collaborators? Is it solely you as the product manager or the product team that will be crafting this roadmap? Or are there other cross-functional team members that you'll be working with as well? And then secondly, what is the specific goal of the roadmap? Because based off of the goal, that is going to determine which roadmap template or type you want to utilize. Secret number 2, telling a story with your roadmap. Now, storytelling is one of the most powerful skills that a product manager can have. Communication is huge for product managers. Rather than simply sharing the prioritized initiatives on the product roadmap, narrate a compelling story to your audience, okay? How did the quarter begin? How did last year end? What's currently happening in your industry? And then along with that, what are the planned initiatives to improve the product? Speak on these points with a compelling story. And as you speak about improving the product, orally paint the picture of where the product is going to be in the future. Set that grand vision for your team and your company. It's one thing to say that, your team is going to spend a quarter rebuilding the product from scratch with new technology to address major bugs that your customers have complained about. However, it's a lot more powerful when you paint the picture of, for example, how many bugs were caused due to the existing old technology. What feedback have you received from customers, right? How much time was spent by your development team addressing these bugs? Why is customer retention so important for your business? What are your competitors up to in this industry? And how is that product going to be improved? And how will that benefit your business once it's rebuilt with the new technology? This latter approach is not only more entertaining to listen to be frank, but it's also going to basically motivate your team and garner their full support. So tell a compelling story. Don't simply just speak to the features and initiatives and how the product is going to be improved, but what happened in the past, what's happening currently, and how can you tie everything towards painting that picture for a better vision for that product and your business moving forward. Secret number 3, which is critical, all of these are critical to be frank, is to ensure that you're tying roadmap initiatives to business goals. A product management role is a business strategy role. What this means is that everything that you do as a product manager needs to tie into the goals of your business. So while you may be working to solve problems for your customers and users, as you should, you need to keep in mind that you're also working to solve business problems as well. This includes earning revenue for your business, supporting customer retention, supporting growth initiatives, remaining competitive, etc. So the items on your roadmap need to tie into your business goals. Otherwise, business stakeholders can, and they will question, why exactly are you focusing on them? And to do this, of course, you need to know what your business goals are as a starting point. And this is why OKRs are beneficial and they're shared throughout the entire company. Now, how is this done? Number 1, you start by gathering requests from all your stakeholders. And this is something that's done throughout the year. Don't simply wait until the end of the quarter to start thinking about, okay, what are we going to focus on next quarter? Along with that, discovery calls with customers and other internal stakeholders as well to understand the reasoning behind the requests that you are receiving. And as you get these requests, you're doing some scoping with your team, and you're also estimating, okay, what is the business value, likewise customer and user value that will be obtained from potentially solving these problems. And along with that, the associated effort, okay, past just development, but also divine effort, launch tactics, etc. 4, next step, you're going to prioritize.
Can I quickly jump in, Quadri?
Yes.
So number 3 is about tying initiatives to your business goals. And I think there's another level that's going more down. And I'm speaking about product hierarchy, right? So the initiative level, the roadmap level, this is usually happening on a higher strategic level. And from our experience, what really helps if you're kind of looking at the entire product organization and the product from different perspectives. And then below this initiative roadmap level, you usually have your opportunities, ideas towards the end, maybe of the PM process. They become something like epics or bigger features. But you really want to make sure across this entire life cycle that all your ideas and opportunities tie back to these higher level initiatives. So what you said, tie initiatives to your business goals, but then also tie your opportunities to these initiatives. And then you have a very clear structure and hierarchy tree.
Great point. And having that structure will basically make it easier for you to understand which opportunities, problems that you're solving are tied directly to your business goals. And it's extremely important to be able to do this because you will be challenged on them at times with regards to why you're focusing on specific initiatives over others. And of course, as you determine which initiatives you want to basically work on related to your roadmap, ensure that you are communicating these initiatives to other stakeholders as well, just to get their feedback before publishing your roadmap and communicating it to the entire company and your customers as well. Secret number 4, focus on your customers and your users, okay? Now, a product roadmap can include internal releases, and these are enhancements that are going to be made to your product to benefit internal team members. However, generally, product roadmap should focus mainly on your users and customers, especially the external facing ones. Now, customers pay for your product, and ultimately they keep the bills paid and keep you paid as well. Users and customers use your products to help them accomplish their goals, and they're happy to support products whose mission they believe in, okay? Now, as your roadmap is being crafted, put yourself into the shoes of your customers and users and consider the following questions. Does this roadmap outline the key initiatives that customers and users have requested? Not to say that you have to deliver everything that they ask for, but your roadmap should communicate at least the key themes and problems that you've gathered from your discussions and calls with your customers and users. Likewise, does this roadmap contain the information that they need to understand what the key initiatives that your team is prioritizing are, okay? Is it grouped into themes for easy consumption? Is it visually appealing to read, or is it a sword to the eyes, right? Likewise, if you're using a timeline-based roadmap, if you choose to, is it structured by a timeline for them to know when they can benefit from release? Not to say that simply because it's mentioned in a particular quarter, they have to receive it then, but at least giving them a general understanding of when they can potentially benefit from this new enhancement, okay? And along with that, if it is an external roadmap, how are they going to access it? And this is one of the key reasons why it's extremely beneficial to use a product road mapping tool. Are you going to share it via a shareable link? Is it housed in your support wiki? Or do they need to reach out to a customer success manager, for example, to access the roadmap? If it isn't easily accessible to your users and customers, what is your team's response going to be when customers request information related to the roadmap? Okay, have a response and a process defined with your team. Now, for external roadmaps especially, okay, think from the perspective of your users and customers. Make their lives easier to gather the information that they need, okay? Now, they use your products because it helps them accomplish goals, okay? In one way or another, it's making their life easier. And as they use your products, they are taking valuable time out of their day to provide feedback, whether positive or negative via a call or simply an email. They give your team feedback, which is valuable. So as you're crafting your roadmap, ensure that the items that are going to benefit them are communicated. But again, ensure that they tie into your business goals as well, because your business is important and has goals to accomplish. Now, some other things to keep in mind related to your users and customers as you put yourselves in their shoes. Using broad timelines, don't add specific dates, okay? Do not set your team up for failure. Just because something's in Q1 doesn't exactly mean it's going to be delivered in Q1. We may understand that, but customers don't always understand that. Having broad timelines provides flexibility for when items may be delivered. Secondly, extremely important, especially for external public-facing roadmaps, add a disclaimer, okay? Having a public roadmap is beneficial because your customers have easy access to the details on what your team has released and likewise plans to improve the product in the near future. Now, a public roadmap that's shared without a discussion or a disclaimer can be problematic because it can set incorrect expectations about how initiatives are decided, release dates, priority, and more. So this is where the disclaimer comes in. It should clarify the purpose of the roadmap, how the roadmap is supposed to be used, where customers can go to if they have further questions or want to provide feedback, and explicitly mention in your disclaimer that the roadmap is subject to change, okay? Set the correct expectations. Lastly, ensure that you're using customer speak for roadmap initiatives. What I mean by this is rather than simply naming the feature, for example, as you're crafting the title and likewise the notes, focus on the key problems that the feature is going to solve for your customers and users. So in the title and description, make it clear how what you are planning on working on will make their lives better and solve key issues that they're facing. So rather than simply saying, you know what, Dropbox integration, maybe consider something along the lines of automatically store safety documents in a central repository, for example, okay? Now, secret number 5, some common mistakes that you should try to avoid, just some words of wisdom, things to keep in mind. Number 1, be flexible with your roadmap. The product roadmap is not etched in stone. Product managers should be flexible and ensure that the roadmaps are flexible as well, okay? So always be open to receiving feedback from stakeholders on roadmap items and be willing to swap items if and when necessary. Likewise, if needed, be willing to stop work midway through to focus on more important items as they are needed, okay? And of course, as a product manager, this isn't just a decision that you make yourself. You're always including key stakeholders as part of the discussion. Second, say no when needed, but likewise, do not be afraid of saying yes. Products are solutions to problems that are solved by many, and you build features into products to solve problems that users and customers are facing. Not every feature, idea, initiative should be worked on. And as product people, we understand this. And this is because not all ideas that come from stakeholders are going to move the needle for your business goals. And even if they do, there might be others that are more important to work on. Likewise, you have limited resources and product managers don't have time to work on every single grand idea. So you need to prioritize. So be open to receiving feedback from stakeholders, always be open to new ideas. However, when these ideas are received, it's your job to determine whether they should be worked on or not. And this is where prioritization comes in. Likewise, discovery calls and collaborating with stakeholders as well. So keep in mind, always ask what problem is aiming to be solved here and engage with your stakeholders for further conversation, okay? You might find yourself saying no to a lot of things, and that's perfectly fine as long as you take the time to understand which problems you're solving and communicate why potentially providing a solution to certain problems may not be the wisest decision at this moment in time, okay? Likewise, always ensure that you're thinking from your customers' perspectives, okay? Empathy is a key skill that product leaders must have. Always put yourself into the shoes of your users and customers and ensure that they're feeling, or ensure that you're feeling the pain that they may be feeling with regards to the problems that they're mentioning, and put them first, okay? Your product roadmap is meant to outline how your product is going to evolve to assist your customers and users with reaching their goals, okay? Likewise, the goals of your business as well. Another key thing to keep in mind is differentiate your roadmap from a release plan. The product roadmap is not a release plan. A roadmap contains goals, epics, major user stories, broad timelines, and more, okay? Outlining the strategic initiatives of your business and how you're evolving your product to reach those goals. A release plan, to be frank, is a project plan, okay? This outlines the details related to releases, containing features to be developed, milestones to reach, specific dates, statuses of items, milestones, and more, okay? Now, while your product roadmap can be tailored to internal and external stakeholders, the main audience of a release plan is the product team and any cross-functional team members that are contributing towards working towards general availability. Do not confuse these two. They have different features, they have different objectives, and likewise, they have different audiences as well. Secret number 6, ensure that you're updating your roadmap regularly, okay? This is more so for those who are responsible for crafting, publishing, and regularly communicating the roadmap. Crafting a roadmap takes time. We know this. From gathering inputs from multiple stakeholders, weighing the various initiatives, understanding the value versus effort for the various initiatives, and then, of course, making and crafting the roadmap and sharing it with the right parties. And once complete, there's constant work required to keep it up to date and communicate these changes, while at the same time level setting expectations with stakeholders. It can get tiring, but again, who said being a great product manager, product leader, or product person was easy? Constantly updating your roadmap, to be frank, is a lot easier when you have the right product tool, to be frank, okay? Now, changes are going to constantly be made to your roadmap. Items may be late. You may decide to drop certain initiatives. When these changes take place, update your team, update the roadmap, and ensure that your key stakeholders are aware of this. This is going to equip the cross-functional team members with the knowledge that they need to perform their work to the best of their availability, or the best of their ability, sorry. So if a key initiative was swapped, your team members need to know. And to be frank, it also helps to build trust with team members as well, especially as items are delivered, hopefully, according to the broad timelines that are shared. Secret number 7, use a product road mapping tool. I was having a discussion with one of my past students, basically helping them out with some of their work-related items. And this is part of the lifetime one-on-one mentorship that's offered at Product Hub. So he was walking me through his deck and he showed me his business roadmap. And this roadmap was created in Google Slides. And one of the key things that I advised him explicitly was to use a dedicated product road mapping tool. Now, why do product teams and product managers need road mapping tools? To be frank, because they make it easier to craft and share roadmaps in an effective way. As a product manager, can you create a roadmap in an Excel spreadsheet, Word document, PowerPoint keynote? Yes, you can, okay? However, with all the responsibilities that product people have, the constant iteration required for roadmaps, along with sharing capabilities, gathering inputs and requirements from your team members, using a product road mapping tool makes your life a lot easier, okay? And likewise, product road mapping tools, they provide a plethora of features just to make the entire process easier of collaborating with stakeholders. From ready-made templates to get started, drag and drop interfaces, visually appealing displays. I mean, would you rather look at a roadmap that is visually appealing and pleasant to your eyes, or read, let's just say, a word map on, or a roadmap on a Word doc, right? Likewise, there are multiple sharing and viewing options, guidance on how to get the most out of your roadmap. And another benefit is that they integrate with many popular tools as well. Some people, for example, the approach that they take is they might create roadmaps in design tools like Sketch, InDesign, Figma. And yes, these can be used to create roadmaps. However, When you use these tools to create product roadmaps, you are going to fall into the same issues as if you were to use PowerPoint or a Word doc. It's just too cumbersome, okay? The only difference when using a design software for road mapping is that your roadmaps will be a lot more visually appealing. This is if you have the design chops to do it yourself. However, it goes without saying, we definitely recommend using a road mapping tool. Do you really want to task your design team with making incremental changes to your roadmap every month and monumental changes every quarter or year, for example? Or would you rather just use a reliable tool like airfocus to accomplish this? There's a lot that can be said here. However, I'll let Malte take it away with a demo of airfocus.
Thanks, Quadri. So really a lot of insights about this entire topic. And the two key insights that I took away was don't confuse a roadmap with a release plan. That's what we see on a daily basis product teams struggle with. And the other key insight actually came from the chat where someone said a roadmap is a plan for the future, not a prediction of the future. And I think that's a really powerful statement. That's probably going to help all of us when we hit that next road mapping meeting. Yeah, so I'm going to share my screen now and gonna show you airfocus, which is a product road mapping software, but it's also an end-to-end product management platform. So it's going way beyond product road mapping, and it's doing that because there's a lot that kind of needs to happen around the subject of road mapping in order to make the right decisions, focus on the right things, also being efficient. I think that's a very underrated thing. So yeah, you can always do that in Figma or Word or PowerPoint. That's all possible, but that's taking like precious time of you, time that you want to spend on product strategy and talk new customers. So there's also this efficiency aspect of working with a dedicated product management software. So that is airfocus here. We consider ourselves a home for products and the people who build them. And we are kind of the only really truly flexible solution on the market. So we kind of integrate with your feedback tools so you can make customer-driven decisions. And on the other side, we are deeply connected to your Jira, your Azure DevOps. So the handoff to the delivery teams is working flawlessly. And in the middle, the very hard parts of product management, kind of we solve in a very modular way, because we learned that all products, teams, and companies are quite unique, and usually the processes that they have developed over time, they make sense. And there's not this one size fits all product that product teams should use. Instead, they should kind of look at the set of problems that they have right now and then find the right tools that they need right now in order to solve these problems, and not always be under this expectation that they need to do this entire process perfectly, because there's no perfect in product management. So let's jump into airfocus. So what you see here is a now, next, later roadmap that is shared with an audience, maybe your customers. And you see what Quadri described. You want to really focus on kind of describing problems that you're solving with your product, right? So allow users to receive and manage notifications doesn't exactly tell you how you're going to do it, but it's telling you that you're focusing on this problem and you're trying to solve it the right way. And the more you go into the later, the more you will like see very imprecise problems that you want may or may not solve in the future, right? So this document here is an airfocus share link that's out there in the public. And what you always want to do is you want to invite your audiences to give feedback on your roadmap in general, or certain items on your roadmap. So let's click that submit item button here and kind of simulate this desperate customer who wants to be reminded of upcoming calls. So people send feedback via the public roadmap to that product team. And then what you see here is the kind of back office of airfocus. This is where different product teams can collaborate around their unique work environments. So maybe we have a team that's focused really on the platform. Then we have another team that's working on the mobile apps. You have that higher level roadmap that I will show you in a minute. And obviously you want to have a place where you centralize all that feedback that's arriving from different channels, right? And here in airfocus, we give you that feedback inbox, looks a little bit like Gmail, and you find all that feedback that's arriving through that form that the user just filled out on your public roadmap. It might also come from Intercom or an internal sales call, or sent over via Slack from your sales colleagues. Anyways, what you want to do is you want to look at each of these feedbacks and then make decisions like, is this relevant feedback for the for my product workflows and also for the roadmap? And then you want to create these little insights that help you be really customer driven. So please remind me of upcoming calls. You consider this a relevant piece of feedback. So let's now link it to the push notifications web item that you already have in your product backlog. This is an opportunity that you're considering, and that's kind of lying in a completely different place, right? So we're now switching perspectives a bit and moving to that Boom video platform where that push notifications web and push notifications email feature or opportunity, however you want to call it, lies. Yeah. And then within airfocus, I said this before, airfocus is all about flexibility, because we learned and understood that product teams have very different requirements. Yes, there are a lot of commonalities, but the way they approach product management is usually quite different, and we want to keep it easy to use and simple and focus on your problems. And that's why everything is built around the modularity. And what this means in airfocus is you have your items here within that workspace, and each item has like a few fields here that you can fill with values. And then we have custom views here, so you can create the views that you need to get your job done, right? You have a product backlog. That product backlog has the priority ratings app, which is the fourth component of modularity. We have apps that help you kind of add like little tools to solve very specific PM problems. And you can, for example, now add this prioritization framework here, which is completely customizable as well. And then you can kind of rate these opportunities and features based on reach, impact, maybe the number of insights that have been generated, like customer feedback. You remember that from a minute ago, team effort, revenue, however you want to prioritize. And then what we do is we calculate this priority score. But again, not everyone needs such a advanced prioritization framework. If you don't need it, you just deactivate it, and then it's not in your face in the product. And then alongside this product backlog, which is obviously the centerpiece of the PM workflows, you have your priority chart to help you decide what to do next, and more importantly, what not to do. So you find the quick wins on the top left and the don't do's on the bottom right. And this helps you kind of push your opportunities through this PM workflow that you have defined, right? So from something that arrives new on the desk of the PM team, and then you review it, you send it to discovery, then you maybe prioritize it to actually go more into a development stage by designing and developing it. And then at the end of the process, you want to make sure that you're also measuring success, right? So, and yeah, like we also then have different visualizations of your product items here. Sorry, where you kind of visualize your items here based on like the different stages. If you want to better understand like what these individual items kind of help you achieve on a more objective or goal level, you can always choose a view that focuses more on these objectives. And then lastly, also what Quadri mentioned, there is a time in the life cycle where you want to skip towards more of the delivery side and plan out when to do certain features and also visualize dependencies, and that's also covered in airfocus. But since this topic today is very much about road mapping. I would like now not to go too deep into what you can do in the product management platform here in airfocus. I would really spend the last 2-3 minutes on road mapping, and I would now switch back to that one view that I introduced a bit earlier to the user, right? So this is the public Boom roadmap that was shared with your audiences. And this is now the internal view where you can move your items around and plan out what should go on your roadmap. And what I also said when I jumped in a bit earlier is that you want to think of product management in terms of hierarchies, right? Like you have this higher level, strategic level, then you have this opportunity level, and then maybe even below you have this more delivery focused story level. And all of that is not like this is now the truth. This might be different in your company and it might make total sense, but in general I think it's a good idea to break down these different levels. And this here, what you see is now a strategic product roadmap on the initiative level, and with a feature called hierarchy here, you can connect these different levels seamlessly with each other, right? And what you now want to do is you want to show the children that are related to these different initiatives. And they might, by the way, may come from different workspaces, because as I said a bit earlier, you maybe have some people that are working on the general platform, then you have some people that are more focused on the mobile apps, and they might have some different PM workflows because it makes sense for them and they're working towards like iOS releases, I don't know. But what you want to make sure is that this high level strategic roadmap is working for different teams, different products, different units, and that the kind of opportunities that these different teams focus on are tying back to these higher level initiatives, right? And with a visualization like this, it's very transparent to everyone in the company, what problems you're solving, and then what are the opportunities that help you get there. Yeah, and yeah, that's really all I wanted to show you right now in terms of what airfocus can do in terms of road mapping. Obviously, there's much more hidden in the product when you want to like talk about certain problems or so. There's much more in airfocus, but I guess for now that should be it. So yeah,
that was great. By the way, there are a ton of audience questions, some about what we've learned today, some even about airfocus. And yeah, Quadri, thank you for walking us through all of the secrets, and Malta, thank you for walking us through airfocus. It was great to be able to get a glimpse of airfocus and all that it could do, especially since road mapping tools, I mean, it's on a lot of our minds. So I'd love to go into a Q&A if that's okay with you, Malta and Quadri. Are you good with that?
Yep, definitely.
Let's go.
That's great. Okay. Well, just as a reminder, if you have questions, you could go right to the Q&A section. That'd be the best place to submit your questions. Already a lot of you have, and so I want to get through as many as we can now. Maybe I'll start with, we went over a lot in those 7 secrets. So a lot of these questions are relating to different parts of it, but maybe I'll start with this first one, which is, do you think that roadmaps with specific dates for each feature and item is a good practice? And I know we've talked a little bit about, putting dates out there, and there's a lot of questions kind of on this. So I'll have more to come, but yeah, what do you think about this one? Either one of you.
You want to go first, Quadri, or should I?
Sure, I'll go first. Good. So with many of these rules, these are just guidelines to keep in mind, right? Now, with regards to this specific question, I would generally advise against it, because this is one of the problems that we're constantly trying to solve in the tech industry, right? Just getting to better estimations. And as many developers know, you might have a defined scope for something, but once your development team starts working on it, you're going to notice other things that you may have missed or did not consider. and you don't want to erode the trust of your team members and stakeholders. So the risk with regards to putting specific dates, even if your team understands that, okay, these are estimations, they may be missed, it just doesn't look good as they are missed. So I generally advise for individuals to have broad timelines. Now, if it is the case where you have a specific customer that is, extremely important for your business and they are asking for specific dates, then in edge cases like that, you can, though I'd still push back against it. However, I generally advise against this. Try to stick to broad timelines. For your internal team, your devs that are working on it, if you do have a specific date in mind that you're working towards, great. However, for other stakeholders, stick to broad timelines.
I appreciate that, Quadri. I've read and have had so many great conversations with Andrea Says. I know Andrea's on the team at airfocus, and she's been a big proponent of the, hey, unless it's coming up right up, we don't want to share the dates. We can't share the dates because if it's later, if you're doing a now, next, later kind of roadmap, if it's later, that might not even happen, by the time that we get there. So I've had many conversations with Andrea about that. But another question from the audience, and I relate to this question too. It says, my executive management wants to know timelines for deliverables. Are they misunderstanding the purpose of a roadmap, or should I adjust my process to meet what they expect to see? And I've heard this about, hey, the board of directors needs it. The C-suite, whatever it might be. How do we handle situations like this? And we're speaking with a CEO here too. So Malta, I'd love to get your take as well. I'd love to hear from both of you.
Yeah, I mean, that's a tricky one, the evergreen question of road mapping. I'm not sure which hat I should wear right now, but I agree with what Quadri said. What's the value of putting a date on something where you cannot put a date on? So just don't do it, and try to educate people in your company on this kind of thinking that it doesn't work in tech and software development. And then if you have to do it, this just means you have to that this is not coming for free and that this costs, right? Of course, you can kind of get a date, which means you're have to invest way more into scoping and refinements and breaking down stuff, and then you will be able to give a conservative date. But this comes at the kind of cost of money, time, and velocity, and it's a decision that you should not take, because you want to be fast and stick to agile principles, and dates don't help anyone in this context.
No, I appreciate that. Thank you. Let's see, one of the points that came up before, actually, I think it was on the very first secret, was the external facing and internal facing roadmaps. How do those vary? If we're thinking about the roadmap that we need to share internally versus externally, how does that change? That was one of the questions that came from the audience. So I was curious about that.
One of the key ways in which it changes is generally the information that you decide to share on it. So internal roadmaps will be a lot more detailed. It might have more information with regards to specific customers that have requested certain features, enhancements, or problems to solve. Likewise, details related to any deals that you may have lost because your product did not have certain functionality, and further information such as that. Information that you want to keep internal for your business because you don't want customers, or let's just say competitors, getting your hands on this. They might also contain maybe closer or specific dates if you need to. However, external roadmaps, again, they're mainly for customers and users, general broad timelines, and they'll have, some of the key initiatives that you're focused on, and they won't contain too much detail, just to give your team or give them enough detail with regards to what is going to be worked on, but not the specifics with regards to how that functionality is going to be carried out. But that's it in a nutshell. Internal, meant for your internal team, secret information. External for customers, and you have to be wiser with regards to how you craft this information per se, just to set the right expectations with your external stakeholders.
One sentence about, I think, a mental model that helps understand this better is a public roadmap or a customer-facing roadmap is an instrument or the result of the product marketing team, right? So and the word marketing already describes one of the jobs of the public roadmap. It's marketing what you're delivering.
Great. I appreciate that. By the way, these are great questions. I love all these questions. I had some questions written down of my own, but then I saw all the audience questions here. I'm like, these are better than anything that I could come up with. So this is great, and keep those coming. We're gonna go through more. I think we've got another 12 minutes to go. So actually, I see one here that I think is a great question. You mentioned before what a feature-based roadmap is all about, and why we may want to avoid that. The question is, are there any best practices for transitioning an organization from a feature-based roadmap with timelines and everything to more of a goal or outcomes-based roadmap? So, maybe this person asking the question, they're bought in, but they're dealing with their entire organization. They need to get them to that point. So yeah, what's the best advice you might have for helping with that transition?
Malt, what would you advise based on of your experience working with airfocus customers?
Yeah, very related to my demo. I would advise to kind of add that additional hierarchy level on the top, which is really about problems and initiatives and bigger projects. And you would be surprised that many product organizations don't have that extra level. They are just working on that idea, opportunity, epic feature level. And just putting that on top is actually quite easy, because you don't have it. Like creating something from scratch is easier than changing stuff. So I think that's a great first step. And now next later roadmap with just a few initiatives describing the big problems that you're working on, and then linking all the other stuff that you're doing anyways, linking it to these higher level initiatives.
I like that. And I know organizations, especially at that C level, they want to know the why, right? So it's like, hey, if making these changes, making this transition is actually better for the organization, catering to that C-level person's thought of why, why is this better? If we could cater to that, we could answer that question. That might help with the transition too. So yeah, great. I appreciate that. I see another question from the audience here, and I've lived through this one so many times too, and have struggled with it. The question is, for a startup, although I'd argue that even not non-startups, right, they kind of go through this, but it says from a startup, from a timing perspective, what's a healthy cadence for updating the roadmap? I feel like in our startup, our priorities are constantly changing, and the C-suite wants those changes reflected into the product roadmap. So we talked about how the roadmap is not a one-time thing, how it's an evolving process. But what does that mean in practice? How often are we kind of revisiting the roadmap and making changes?
I'll speak from my perspective. So some of the common processes that you have in many companies is, let's just say at the beginning of the year, once the roadmap is crafted, you'll have that roadmap review meeting just to share what's on the roadmap for the whole year, right? But then likewise, every quarter, the same will be done. And I think some teams, they just stop at that, just having the yearly and the quarterly presentations. What product managers need to do is just constantly have regular discussions with their teams as roadmap items are changed, new initiatives are being modified. But it's important for a product manager to stay close to their roadmap. So once something has changed, update it. And this is one of the benefits, again, of using a product road mapping tool, because once those changes are made instantaneously, if your external stakeholders, customers and users, they have the link, they can see it. So I'm not going to say that there is a specific cadence. Personally, we'll see what Malt has to say. However, what I will say is that it's extremely important to over communicate, period. Anything that you're doing as a product manager in general. So don't simply just rely on your annual roadmap reviews and your quarterly roadmap reviews. Have regular ones throughout the weeks as well. Even if it's just the case of telling your team, hey, this is what we recently released. Here are the results. Likewise, here are the things that we're thinking of working on next. Here's what's been swapped and the main reasons why. So regular communication with your team.
That's great. And that regular communication helps in terms of helping everybody understand what happens when that roadmap's revised too, right? Like I've definitely been in situations where you get the directive from even the CEO saying, oh, we need this feature, for whatever reason. It's like, okay, well, that means something on the roadmap is going to fall off the roadmap if we now all of a sudden sneak a new feature in. But if we're constantly having that communication, like you suggested, Quadri, at least we're on the same page about that. So I like that. Thank you. I had a couple questions come up about this ebook that we see on the screen. And so there's this QR code. If you literally take your device and just open the camera app and hover it right over that QR code, it will open up a website on your phone where you could download the ebook. I'm also going to email you a link, a direct link to this ebook a little bit later today. And that email will also include the recording from today as well. So you'll be able to rewatch the recording anytime you want, and you'll be able to click the link and download the ebook as well. Lots of great stuff in this ebook. Many things that we talked about today, plus many more things. So it'll just be a helpful guide for you when it comes to roadmaps. So I just wanted to mention that because we got a couple questions on that. Malta, this is a question for you. Somebody asked what do you think airfocus does better than other solutions in the market? Had people asking about tools. It was fun to get a sort of backstage tour of airfocus. Where do you see airfocus standing out versus maybe other tools that exist out there?
Yeah, I mean, building a software for product managers is really hard because these people know good software and can tell good from bad. And the thing that is always driving our decisions is this making the job easier for the PM? And this also means like keeping the interface clean and friendly. And with so many of these other tools, to give you an example, right? Like they have like 1 million fields that are always in your face, and you cannot delete them, right? And that's why airfocus is all about modularity. I think I said it now 20 times, but it's very important because it allows you to have interfaces that are very focused on the problems that you have right now, but at the same time allowing you to build on top when you, I don't know, learn stuff, develop your processes, maybe add more teams that you need to connect with. So all of this, and then the other part is, I really believe that it's this flexible approach is the only way how you can actually make a product management software work because of the complexity of many product organizations, especially when you work and collaborate with multiple teams, multiple products, and you have all this crazy interlinking going on. You need something where you give product managers the toolbox to build their own product stack. And that's what we're trying to do.
That's great. I appreciate that. Let's see, have time for, let's get 1 or 2 more questions in, if you don't mind. Let's pack in as much learning as we can here. Somebody asked this question. I think is an interesting one because things are always evolving when it comes to software versus hardware. The question was, how do product roadmap best practices change based on the type of product you have, software versus hardware? And speaking from experience, I've been in companies, actually both of or a couple of product roles I've had in the past. We had software and hardware, right? And that interacted with each other. Sometimes I'm working on building a roadmap for one, sometimes meaning hardware versus the software. And there are differences, but curious about this question. How do road mapping best practices change if you are managing software versus hardware? Whichever one of you are willing to answer this question, it'd be great to get your take.
I'll let Malte take this, but I think one of the key things that needs to be considered is when you think about software versus hardware, when you are a product manager for a hardware product, you have more inputs that you need to consider because it's a physical product, right? You have materials, suppliers, et cetera, logistics and supply chain. So one of the key things you need to consider if you are managing a roadmap that has both components is just ensuring that the roadmap includes information from the key stakeholders, just so you can ensure that you are prioritizing the right things. And likewise, any dependencies that you need to reach certain milestones are also factored in as well. But I'm curious to hear Malte's take as well, based off of his discussions with customers that may be having roadmaps that include both.
Yeah, to be honest, I'm not a hardware expert, but I think one of the key things with regards to tech roadmaps is that you have to do a much better job at planning, because there is no like continuous delivery and releasing every day 5 times. At a certain point in time, you have to tell the manufacturer what they should develop now, and this beta is a proven bug-free document. So I think the planning has to be much more advanced when it comes to hardware.
Yeah, no, that rings true with me. I remember with software I've worked on before, it's like, yes, we can at least iterate, make changes on the fly. When we have 50,000 components that are on order and on a boat, can't exactly turn that boat around. So yeah, it is a little different in that aspect for sure. Maybe I'll go with one last question, and this would be kind of like a quick take one, and maybe I'll ask both of you this question. But when I run sessions like this, when we're doing webinars, live Q&As, we've sat here and learned for an entire hour. We've got so much information that we're packing into our minds, which is amazing. Sometimes it's the last thing we hear, though, that especially sticks in our mind. So what I'd love to ask both of you is if there's one big takeaway. I mean, obviously we went over 7 secrets, but if there's one big takeaway that you hope people leave with from this session, what would you want that takeaway to be? And I know we've talked about so many, but if there's one that you want, sticking in their mind, since we're at the end of the session here, what would you want that to be? And Quadri, maybe I'll start with you.
Personally, I would say over communicate your roadmap plans with your teams and your customers. Keep them informed of the key changes and what's planned for the roadmap, period.
Love that. Love that. Malta, what about for you?
I love that too. I would say really take the time to be strategic. And this is very hard because we are all so busy all day with project management also. I mean, that's the hard reality of PM, that you're doing a lot of project management. And really take the time to be strategic and discuss complicated problems with the people that can help you, also your customers, and then set up workflows and processes to really make this a machine. So what do I mean by this? Like the stuff that is obvious and that you have decided once, like put it into a process that makes sense for you, and then execute based on this process, and don't waste so much time discussing process every 2 weeks when you meet with your team. So yeah, just invest in the process and block the time on your calendar to focus on strategy and road mapping.
Well, that's great. That's great. I think it's perfect time to end and wrap things up here. For all of you that are with us, we really appreciate you being a part of this. Hopefully you learned something here. Definitely would love for you to download this road mapping book. Again, I'll email you with a link. I saw it was shared in the chat too, which is great. I'll also be following up with a recording from this session. So if you had to step away at any point or you joined us late, don't worry about it. We got you covered. But yeah, thank you for wherever you are in the world. Thank you for taking part in this today. And Malta and Quadri, thank you so much for being a part of this today.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you very much.
Pleasure.
All right. Well, with all of that, have a great rest of the day or evening, wherever you are, and we'll see you next time. Bye, everybody.